So we are now in Bangkok airport. We were just in Chiang Mai for a little over 2 weeks. The main reason being that Isel had another court date for the case with Durian Rider. And it was my first time coming to Chiang Mai. And to me, I don't think this has as much significance as it does to other vegans, people who were, into the raw fruit diet. I think it probably would mean more to them to go to Chiang Mai, where it seems like the vegan mecca, like the closest thing that vegans have to a mecca. So, but yeah, I had heard your video with Jake Eames talking about Chiang Mai, and it didn't give me that great of an impression. And
yeah,
it's true. Like, it's not a good place to walk around. It is strange to me that it's obviously such a popular tourist destination. But we spent 2 weeks there, and it was comfortable. We got to go to a lot of vegan restaurants. I think this is the only place I've been to with so many vegan restaurants. So
yeah,
that was impressive to me.
I think it's kind of funny though, like just even hearing you say that, like vegan mecca. Because the thing is, like, I feel like for something to be a mecca, for something to be a destination, there has to be something to do. You know what I mean? Like, I said to you repeatedly when I was there, it's like I feel like this is like, it's like everyone's behaving as if they're here to see the pyramids, but there are no pyramids.
Yeah.
Like everyone's behaving as if there's some attraction here. And the reality is, like, Chiang Mai is just a less dysfunctional city than the big cities of Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, like Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, like it's a less dysfunctional city even than Bangkok or whatever.
Right.
But that's the only attraction, right?
You mentioned one time we were walking around that, like, it's safer for women to walk around here than in Malaysia. Like it's a safer place. Like, single women can travel here in Chiang Mai, Thailand, or anywhere in Thailand.
And wearing revealing clothes and so on. Yeah. There's a lot of elements to that.
Yeah.
If you want to wear a burqa, you might feel right home in some other part. Yeah, right. Sure.
Yeah. So, I was just saying to you
I just mentioned a lot of female travelers. You must have had friends who did India, who did the hippie traveler thing in India, or no? But
probably people from my high school have done it. But I'm not really in contact with it. I told you recently that one of my friends went to Cambodia. Facebook friends.
Right.
I'm not really close to her.
One of the most common complaints is women go to India expecting to have this kind of spiritual experience.
Yeah, the eat, pray, love experience.
And they get sexual harassment kind of on the streets.
Really?
Everywhere they go. Yeah. So I just mentioned that's a bit of a mass phenomenon. And no, walking around Chiang Mai wouldn't be a problem. So
right.
You can walk around Chiang Mai in your bikini, and some women pretty much do bikinis or yoga outfits that are about as revealing as repeats. Yeah.
Right.
So that's one factor. But it's weird for Chiang Mai to fundamentally be a good place to do nothing.
Yeah,
that's just,
right.
Just a weird.
Yeah, we got a lot of reading done.
That's the right.
Yeah, you got work done for finishing up grading exams and whatnot. But yeah, I guess the main attraction that we could have done is seeing the elephants, going to an elephant sanctuary. But really, I didn't want to do that. I just didn't want to do that. I think people generally do that just so they can take photos and say that they did it. I think a lot of people do things for FOMO, like fear of missing out. Fear of missing out on something. So they're like, oh, I'll regret it later. Like, and, I kind of had these thoughts when I was walking around Chiang Mai with you. I was like, oh, well, maybe we should go to the zoo. Maybe we should go to the elephant sanctuary. But I was like, is this going to be life-changing? Is this really, like, me going to
I've never heard you
rub my hand on an elephant's trunk?
Yeah, right.
Is that going to change my life?
I've never heard you use that abbreviation with that fear of missing out.
Oh, yeah.
Because in a sense, that's like the exact opposite of my approach. My approach with you always is to say, like, make sure you've done enough reading about something so you know what you're missing.
Yeah.
Which is like I said to you about learning Chinese, like make sure you know enough about the language that you know what you're missing. But
yeah, right. But to me, I was just telling you before we hit record that I know that you've lived in Chiang Mai in various times in your life. So, like, to me, it was kind of special to be in Thailand for an extended period of time with you and see you, even though you haven't spoken Thai really in years, like, you were able to communicate and make people laugh, and, it just shows how, like, worldly you are, and obviously, like, I really admire you now for that, that you're able to, like, that you go to a country and, like, you make an effort to learn a language, and it's obvious that when you were here, you did really make an effort to.
I can get out my language cards and show them on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a little bit tragic to reflect on that my own lost potential, because now most of these places kind of mean nothing to me. But yeah, like this is my handwriting in Laotian, and this is a huge stack of cards I wrote out. So it was fully 10 years I didn't use this language at all.
Yeah.
And then I was amazed myself that my handwriting was this good, sitting down and starting to, and
Yeah, and just last night, like, you were going through some of your things trying to throw out paperwork, and
Right.
you showed me, like, some of your handwriting from when you were learning Pali and different scripts of Pali and stuff, like,
Right.
I got to see, like, excuse me, like, throw out the Lao dictionary that you've had, like, 3 separate times in your life.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, like, I know this is a special place for you, and even though it doesn't have as much, like, significance to me as it does, at one point in your life. Obviously,
I totally think I totally get what you're saying. Like, it's meaningful for you to see, like, an echo of that side of my life. I used to be a scholar of Buddhism. I used to be a scholar of Pali. I still know all this stuff in terms of languages, history, and politics. But, we saw that documentary together. It was just a documentary about, like, factory owners in China, basically economics in China. But one of the factory owners they interviewed,
the gray wolf.
Right, the guy with the gray wolf, as he called himself.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else calls him that, but right. He was a German guy with gray hair living in China. And he really said, like, part of why he will always feel like a foreigner in China is that the people there can never give him the respect he's seeking. It was an interesting comment. You remember he said that? Mm. He said, like, it's not just about having a roof over your head or having enough to eat. It's also about this kind of ecology of respecting others and them respecting you and this kind of stuff.
Right.
And, like, that really strikes home with me with Thailand. You know what I mean? Like, Thailand, it's one of those things. I mean, of course I can say good and bad for it. But, like, it's just a country where I don't, even when what I was studying was their history and their culture and their politics, no one is going to understand me. You know what I mean? That's one of the strangest things. If you're like, oh yeah, like my current research project is like, I'm studying the history of slavery, like here in Chiang Mai. People just look at you like, why? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, where they don't even see anything, worthwhile about your scholarly interests, when your scholarly interest is their history and their language and their culture and this kind of thing. Like, so I mean, I knew a guy who lived everywhere in the world, friend of mine. He worked in hotels, so he had really lived in a very long list of places. And I told him this line my father made up about Thailand. My father just made up this witticism about Thailand. He said, the Thais, the nicest people money can buy, And it's a bit of a cruel story, but I remember this friend of mine lived where he said, wow, he nailed it. That's really a perfect state. At least working in hotels in Thailand, that was his experience. And, a line I made up back when I was living in Laos, but back and forth from Thailand all the time. I would say to other foreigners, I'd say, people here are friendly, but they're not your friends. There's a difference. You know what I mean? And being in a place like Thailand, for me, with my intellectual interest and political interest in someone, like, I feel like there's no way to ever get past the kind of facade of very shallow, distant friendships, which is what makes your life work day to day here. The woman we bought mango and sticky rice from, we bought, that's a standard mango. It's a way of serving mango with rice and coconut fat, I mean, people are nice to you. People are friendly towards you, and especially me because I spoke the language.
The land of smiles.
I could still speak the language at a certain level where I get quite a lot of.
I can see people brightening up when they saw that you could actually speak Thai.
That's right. I mean, normally, of course, you couldn't understand what we were saying, but you could tell immediately there. Yeah. And even prices for things suddenly became cheaper because I could speak Thai.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's really kind of nothing past that. There's the point of diminishing returns is right there, and it's so. I mean, that's for somebody like me. I don't drink alcohol. I don't participate in a lot of the other things that culture has to offer. I don't sleep with prostitutes. Et cetera, et cetera. And that's for most white men. Those are the ways into the culture, like alcohol, drugs, prostitutes, partying. And for me, the door is closed on that. And I've spent a lot of time going to archives and libraries and going there alone and leaving alone. Yeah. So at the archives and libraries, I made friends with other Europeans. That's the reality. I'd meet French and German intellectuals who were also there studying slavery and history or whatever. Anyway, so I mentioned we actually, this stuff, in case you guys think we've talked about this 10 times or something, we really haven't. I mean, we didn't talk about this while we were in Chiang Mai. But no, that's cool for me to hear. I mean, and the other thing for me is obviously like my last several major girlfriends, in a sense, or this is going back over 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Like you, my ex-wife, and then like the two that were before that. It's true that all of them also kind of had this experience with me where one way or another they kind of realized that there's this other side of my life they haven't seen. Anyway, I'm comfortable with the fact that it's over now. But yeah, so it's over now, except we had a great example of it not being over. Remember we went to the vegan activist meetup.
Yeah.
Remember? And this guy started talking about the history and politics of Buddhism and Buddhism in relation to veganism. And then I got to say, look, I'm sorry, but I actually am a Pali scholar. I actually don't. So once in a long while it comes out, but otherwise it's just an echo of the past.
Yeah, I guess it was funny too because you said that the last time or one of the last times that you were in Chiang Mai you were recognized by people, but it was actually not until the last 30 minutes that we were in Chiang Mai.
That's right.
Did anybody notice or recognize you? So yeah, that was
I got recognized on the street.
Yeah.
Last day in Chiang Mai, just when we were going to the airport. That's right. But in the past, when I've come to Chiang Mai, people did recognize me. And in the past, just say this. So I've been recognized because of my involvement with veganism, but also I used to get recognized just as a scholar of Buddhism.
Sure. Yeah.
And my work on, I guess you'd say, contemporary politics, because I wrote a couple articles that were, raised some. There was this kind of sex scandal about corruption and the.
Yeah, I've read that.
Yeah, you read that article. So that also people knew there was this bald guy.
Yeah.
That wasn't on YouTube. That was just text. But people would meet me in those places, those kinds of archives and political places. They'd be like, oh. But now when people recognize me from YouTube, they know how to pronounce my name. That's the big difference. Nobody knew how to pronounce Heisel.
Yeah, but I think, I can safely say that I'd be happy if we never went back to Chiang Mai.
Right.
It's just...
How, what though?
I really don't want to walk around, surrounded by so much... I don't know. It's not even, a nice place to walk around.
No.
There's so much traffic, and it's...
But think about it from Thai people's perspective, too. The other thing that's kind of weird and pointless about Chiang Mai, okay, why do white people like it there? Because they can show up and just speak English, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of signage in English, there's a lot of advertising, there's a lot of menus in English, right?
Yeah, right.
But for Thai people, that city now, 50% of the city is, conducted in English. You know what I mean? And maybe 20-30% is in Chinese, downtown.
Yeah, there was a lot of Chinese signage.
But that's kind of, but I mean, like Las Vegas, at some point, tourism has taken over such a big percentage of a town or a place that there isn't anything unique about that place you're going to see. What in Chiang Mai is really Chiang Mai, and what is just there for foreign tourists? The majority of the vegan restaurants we went to are just for white people. English-speaking Westerners, and that's obvious from the menu and the sign and everything else, right? I did take you to a couple of authentic local places that are really by Thai people, for Thai people. That also exists, but the restaurants are the least of the problem. When the whole city becomes, in that sense, just something that exists for.
Yeah, I mean, when we were searching for gifts, I wasn't looking for anything that was authentically Chiang Mai. I was looking for something that was just authentically Thai.
Well, and something that was made for foreigners, in a sense, right?
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, but I mean, you get into a situation where the representation of a place for foreign consumption becomes more and more detached from the reality of what that place is. And I don't know, maybe the real Chiang Mai is still out there in the suburbs somewhere. Because remember, we once got in a taxi that kind of took us in the wrong direction.
Yeah, right.
And I was pointing out to you, look, over here in this neighborhood we've gone now, there are actually poor people. And they looked poor, and they were skinny, and their clothes were dirty, and there was kind of, it was like, oh look, you don't see this, downtown. We don't see this in our neighborhood in Chiang Mai. It's another side to this. So, there's something you can reach out and touch.
But it was a difference from Pattaya and Jomtien, the other parts of Thailand that I have seen, and Bangkok.
Sure.
So I got to see.
Yeah.
It does seem like a wealthy city compared to.
That's right.
Obviously, Bangkok is full of wealthy people. But
The other thing you got to see is going to court, right? I mean, that's
yeah,
funny 'cause that's
yeah,
something a
I got
normal
to see a
tourist
Thai
wouldn't
court.
do, right?
That is
So
true.
that's something real you can do in a
Yeah,
place.
yeah. That's
Go
my
to
first
court.
time. That's my first time in court ever. So I
Right.
got to go to court for the first time in Thailand.
The court is not something phony for tourists. Let me tell you, that's authentic. That's authentic.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. That's true. But yeah, I had a great vacation with you.
Oh, thanks, Levo. That's great. Okay, well, Chiang Mai, Thailand. I mean, I remember there was a time when people said about currency that the value of the euro was always being driven up just because it was less dysfunctional than the surrounding currencies. I feel like in a lot of ways Thailand has kind of gotten a free ride because it's just a country that's less dysfunctional than and less scary than neighboring countries. But when you stop and examine, what's this worth in itself?
Yeah.
Why would Chiang Mai be the vegan mecca rather than Jamaica? I really mean that sincerely. You can go on vacation rather than, you can make a list, But the advantage they had in being relatively cheap or low cost, that's going to erode away. And unless you have a specialized research interest in something that brings you to Chiang Mai, I can't recommend anyone go there for a vacation,
Yeah.
All right, Chiang Mai, a nice place to do nothing.